Pujana, I think we can wait for 1 more minute.
Yeah, let's wait for 1 or 2 minutes, then we can start.
I don't think more folks are joining in. Is Vishal joining, Chitansh?
Yeah, I'll be there in 5 minutes.
Okay. So if not many folks join in, then maybe we can.
Yeah, keep it.
But I mean, let's use the coffee board.
Yeah.
At least we can note down the questions there.
Cool. So yeah, hi folks, thank you for joining in. We'll start off with a Q&A. So I'll just explain how we do it. We have this coffee board here. I'll share the link in chat for it.
Let me.
Yeah. So if you have any questions that you want feedback on or you want us help in, just put down these questions here related to SigNoz or OpenTelemetry, and once you're done, we'll help you answer those questions. So yeah, we'll take like 5 minutes for you to just put down any questions that you have, and then we can pick questions one by one.
Cool. I see only one question. I think folks feel free to note down your questions here.
Hey, hi Rohit. So Rohit, we are like right now we are doing a Q&A. you have any questions around SigNoz on OpenTelemetry, you can put them down in the link in chat, and we'll pick up questions one by one. So
Sure.
you to put down any question that you have.
Sure, sure.
So I think we just have a question, one question, so I think we can pick that up. Hello.
Yeah, Jitin, we can
Yeah,
discuss it.
yeah. I think any specific reason of port change for front-end for SigNoz in latest 0.76 version? The deployment and update script changes are kind of pain to update. Like, person asking this question, can you tell us more details about the problem that you're facing?
Yeah, so we have set up recently the SigNoz deployment where we automated the workflows around this, where the Docker image was ported to 3301. That is the previous port which we were working on. But now with 0.76 version, the upgrade happened actually automatically. Every week we have a cron job which update the script and update the SigNoz. At that point we started seeing the failures. So I know the in the community we have this information like, but this again port change is kind of a big change. That's what I believe. In terms of like recognition, because everyone understand in our company the 3301 is for SigNoz. Okay. Now again I have to draw all this documentation where we have documented all the IPs where the EC2 install where we've installed the SigNoz. So this need to be like communicated well.
Sorry, I didn't catch your name,
Hardik.
Hardik. Yeah, Hardik. So your main feedback is we should have communicated the port change beforehand, no?
Yeah, it should be added in the community before the version directly being updated. I've seen that in only the sorry, in the release notes when I opened this, correct?
No, yeah, that's a good feedback. We don't have anyone from our platform team, so not sure about the exact reason why this port change was done. But that's a good feedback that something like a port change is a big change, and if we are going through that change, we should inform all our users beforehand.
Yeah, that's what like I see. Anyways, I made the changes and things are
On the okay, I just pinged my teammate around this. He shared that the earlier, I mean, before the single binary thing, query service port was 8080, and because they bundled it with like query service, and they retained the query service port for SigNoz front end. But I'll pass on this feedback to our platform team. Like any change like this should be communicated well beforehand and not post release.
yeah.
Any other feedback that you have for the single binary release?
No, that is about it. So things are working as expected with 0.76, and honestly, we didn't have a lot of data migration in place. We have a account where we store all our things there, so it was pretty straightforward. Just to
Okay.
that only, yeah. Apart from that, no much problems as such.
Also, Hardik, one more question from you. Is community Slack a good place to, I mean, inform about these things, or would you have preferred an email about this? Because we generally don't shoot emails to our users.
Uh,
Just
so
trying to understand like where should like even for release notes, right? We were confused where to have this information so that everyone gets to know. Like,
so
what is your preferred channel for you?
preferred channel, I'll say if there is a breaking change which is coming in, email with the users, correct? It will become very most of the people ignore this. Okay, it should be a community post by getting a proper like a message there with the proper indentation and everything, and it should be very clear that we are making this change soon, and be prepared with the deployment scripts and the deadlines.
Got it. Cool. Thanks for sharing this feedback. We'll definitely keep this in mind for further changes.
Just a couple of more questions, Hardik. Were the docs and migration guides helpful in this change? Like
Uh,
the changes that
I'll be not the right person to talk about this. The reason is we have not done the data migration. Okay, we are very naive right now in terms of the SigNoz usage. So we are migrate from Honeycomb to SigNoz. So we didn't care much about data there. Only we had some telemetry data for logs and other things which we don't care whether it goes or not. So we have installed everything new. So probably it worked well for us. I didn't see any problem as such.
got it. Got it. Got it.
And we are not even using Kubernetes. We are just using the standalone EC2 deployment.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you so much, Hardik, and we'll pass on the feedback definitely to the team.
Yeah, Hardik, and might be like some of my teammates might reach out to you to get feedback on docs for getting started.
Yeah, definitely. Not a problem. Happy to.
Thanks a lot. Cool. New folks joining in. If you have any questions, I saw Rohit, Rudy, and Teja joining in later. If you guys have any questions, we can discuss directly.
I actually have a question or two. I mean, I saw the notification about the single binary thing going out, and that seemed pretty exciting because as a Kubernetes operator, I've actually had trouble running SigNoz on Kubernetes, and it's mostly, and it's actually not, it's not SigNoz that's the issue. It's getting ClickHouse to run reliably because you know how persistent storage is. It's always horrible on Kubernetes, and especially on platforms like EKS. So I think, and this is the idea is that if we deploy the single binary service, we can hook this up with an external ClickHouse instance, right? So I can deploy ClickHouse on, a Hetzner machine for dirt cheap and hook up the single binary with it.
Chikhan, do you have an idea on this?
I'm not 100% sure, but I think it will be tough to do that. It should be possible, but again, I think Pandey would be the right person to have more context on
So
that.
Rudy, Pandey might join in sometime. He will be the right person to answer this.
Got it. No worries. Thanks so much. Yeah. Otherwise, I can always just post on the Slack channel later. Yeah.
Think anyone else, if there's anyone else who has any other question?
So if you don't have any other questions, I would love to hear some feedback, critical or any feedback that you have using SigNoz currently. We'd love to pass it on to the team. Even this, I would want feedback. Is this a good time to conduct community call? Because this time we are seeing low attendance. We are just wondering 12:30 is the right time to conduct a community call or not. What would you guys prefer? Like 11 a.m. is a better timing, or?
Personally, for me, anything works on online 23 hours a day.
Okay. What about you, Hardik?
I'm a remote worker, so I don't mind. I don't have any timelines as such. Just sometime get in between my lunchtime, so it's fine.
Got it. Cool. Pandey from our platform team has joined. Pandey, we had one question from Rudy around the single binary release. Rudy, would you mind sharing that again?
Rudy, before you do that, Ashu, do you want me to just briefly introduce and set the context for the single binary and then?
Yeah, sure.
Perfect.
Yeah, that would be good.
Let me share my screen first. So, first, I'd just like to briefly walk you through visibility. Here is the issue that we have pinned at the top of our GitHub repo. If you ever visit our GitHub repo, It contains in detail of what we've done with the single binary, and I'll briefly just walk you through this background. As you guys might know, before the single binary release, we had 3 components in SigNoz, which had to be run individually, which had their own requirements. For example, if I take Alert Manager as an example, if you wanted to run Alert Manager at scale, you would have to think about provisioning its underlying disk. You would have to think about scaling it, monitoring it, things like that. And the same sort of applied to the front end and to the query service component that we had. So we felt that this was unnecessarily complex to adopt SigNoz at a large scale. And that's where we decided that all 3 of these components can come together into a single binary. And that's what we've basically done. It's basically a huge push from us to ensure that it's easy for you to get started with SigNoz and not unnecessarily complex. There are some architectural changes that have gone as part of this. The first major change, which we have seen a little sort of backlash from the community, is the port change that we've done. We have now moved to 8080 instead of 3301. And the reasoning behind that is pretty simple, wherein since it's a standard Golang API that you have to serve now, it's getting served on 8080. Apart from that, we have deprecated a lot of our older Docker registries, wherein we are now pushing things to a Docker repository called SigNoz. So that is a major change that you guys will see as you start to upgrade to 76 and higher. Another major reason why we did build this binary out is that it lays a baseline for us to now start building this sort of HA concept that we want to introduce to SigNoz. That okay, you have a nice baseline binary set. How can you run it in, say, different modes or different deployment options so that you can sort of achieve HA? So that is the future scope of what the single binary will hold. But for all intents and purposes going forward, we will have this component called SigNoz. Right, and I would urge you guys to go through this issue and come back with comments or things like that on this thread if possible. Happy to answer questions here. So this was just brief.
Cool, thanks, Val. Yeah, thanks, Pandey, for sharing the brief overview of release. Rudy, can you repeat your question?
Yeah, for sure. So first off, I mean, this makes perfect sense and this is great. My question is, so one of the reasons I don't like running SigNoz on Kubernetes is because running SigNoz itself is all right. It's the ClickHouse part that usually becomes a huge issue because persistent storage, and then on Amazon, you constantly have this problem with cross-easy volume affinity conflicts and whatnot. So one thing that I'm really interested in is putting a SigNoz stack up on a provider like Hetzner. I get a lot of these discounts on physical hardware from Hetzner. Just makes sense to, put ClickHouse on one physical machine, put SigNoz on another. And the single binary makes it really easy. But is it possible to configure the single binary to talk to like an external ClickHouse instance, or how does that work? Like, because the Helm chart as of now bundles everything together.
Right, Rudy. So we've got this component called the histogram quantile, which is used in certain metrics, which is bundled as part of ClickHouse. So if I briefly talk about how ClickHouse works, right, there's a way you can give some custom user scripts in ClickHouse, which ClickHouse will execute when you say send a select query with it, right? And as part of our offering, we have that histogram quantile bundled in. So wherever it's possible, when you talk about an external ClickHouse, right, if it's possible to add that sort of component in that external ClickHouse, then SigNoz will be fully compatible with it. If it's not possible to add it, you might lose out on certain queries regarding metrics, but it will still work out great for logs and traces.
Okay, got it. Is there a way I can get this config that I can then, because if it's just a matter of editing the XML manifest for ClickHouse, it shouldn't be too difficult, I think.
Sure, right. So yeah, as an action item, let us create some docs around this so that it's visible for you guys and easy for you guys to go ahead and just follow the instructions there. So let me take that as an action item.
Got it. That would be great, sir. Thanks so much. That's all from my end.
Cool, thanks, Rudy. Do you have any other questions or feedback from the members? Otherwise, I think we can wrap this up.
And
Oh, sorry.
Also,
Please
Rudy,
go on.
I just wanted to tell you that we will be coming up with some docs on how you can deploy this across a wide variety of platforms, not just heads. Take DigitalOcean, for example, right? Maybe we can come up with some nice installation docs there. It'll be helpful for the community. So that is an action item that we already have, that we need to sort of, come up with nice docs so that you can run SigNoz across a variety of platforms, not just the major cloud
Right.
providers, or these providers.
That sounds great. I'm an old school guy, so if you want me to hook you guys up with an Ansible playbook or a role, which can just run over SSL,
Perfect. I will keep that in mind. Thank you for that.
So I had one question which is not really related to this release, but just a general thing. When I create a query on the SigNoz dashboard, when I'm creating a graph, I can use this PromQL-like syntax. Are you then dynamically compiling it to SQL? Is that how that works?
Not to get into too much technical details of it, but we do have a PromQL engine translator sort of, which translates your incoming PromQL into something that that ClickHouse can understand and sort of send it back to you. That's a very high level sort of back overview of what we're doing. But
Got it.
The gist of it.
That's one of the coolest things ever, because ClickHouse SQL is not easy. So,
right.
Yeah, that's very cool. But anyway, that's all from my end.
Cool, folks. Any other questions or feedback? No, cool.
Hey, Vibhu,
Cool,
just a quick question. Vibhu. So I understand this unifying the entire deployment into a single binary, which is fantastic. But have we conducted some sort of a performance benchmarking, because it might impact, there could be a storage concern, or some sort of capacity planning or performance benchmarking, so that this unified really works in a single binary? I just want to understand your feedback so far.
Fair question. So, regarding the performance benchmark, if you look at, so basically we bundled two components, right? We bundled front end and we bundled this alert manager into the single binary, right? And it seems like they would have unnecessary footprints with request to CPU and memory in the single binary, but that's not the case. Consider front end as an example, right? We had a dedicated Nginx container earlier, which was just serving static files, which used to get cached on the browser layer, right? And whenever you did a refresh, it just used to read from the cache. So that component itself was just responsible for serving pages the one time and then just sitting there occupying some or the other sort of resources, right? So that has a very, very minimal performance footprint when we've combined it into the single binary. With respect to the alert manager, again, it seems like alert manager would have a significant impact to CPU or memory, but as you can see across a wide range of the OSS observability community, a bundling alert manager has pretty much 50 MBs or 50 CPU implications for the single binary. As an action item, I can add the performance in this ticket as well, so that it's easier for other people to discover, but that's not a huge concern right now.
Okay. And how about, I understand the metric and alert management, that is something. And then how about the log management as well as distributed tracing? Those are also some aspects where it requires some sort of, ingest mechanism or storage based, resource constraints, etc. Right?
Understood. So a lot of that is already taken care of by ClickHouse, right? So basically what happens in a SigNoz setup is you send all your telemetry via our SigNoz total collector into ClickHouse, right? And then single binary is responsible for sort of just talking to that backing store and fetching and displaying data and ensuring that you have correlation and whatnot. All the product features that make SigNoz is what this component is responsible for. So in terms of, when you talk about strictly in terms of performance, it's usually how well is our ClickHouse backing schema and how well can we query from it. That's where sort of the bottleneck is. It's not at all the bottleneck that, hey, we've combined it into a single binary and suddenly that's the bottleneck for query performance.
All right, great insights, Vibhu. Thank you, and looking forward for that installation so that we can use this as a scratch, setup from the scratch for new deployments. And that would be helpful. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Cool, folks. Thanks for taking questions, Pandey. I think we can wrap this up. Chitransh, you have any comments?
No, Ashok. I think, yeah, folks, if you have any other questions related to single binary or in general about using SigNoz, feel free to ping in Slack. We have the support and general channels for that. And yeah, thank you so much for joining in.
We'll see you in next community call.
Thanks.
Bye, folks. Have a great day.
Super. You all have a great day too. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.